The Paletta Mansion is built on a piece of property that was granted to Laura Secord's family 200 years ago by the king. 200 acres right here on Lake Ontario. It's magnificent. Now, it's been completely restored after having gone fallow all through the 40s and 50s, and it's now 14 acres on the lake, prime real estate, pristine in every way, got to be worth $100 million. Quite a heritage. We wanted to come here because we're testing a car with at least that much heritage. It goes back to the 30s. They were everywhere in Europe, and now you can get them in North America. This rich heritage car, that's right, it's a Cinquecento. For some reason, the North American driving public is going in two extreme directions. One is huge SUVs and monster engines in muscle cars, and the other one is we're going the other way. We're going to little small cars. It all started with this smart car, which is named exactly the opposite of what it really is, because it's a stupid car. It's not really a car, it's kind of a two-seat go-kart with a roof on it. Immensely expensive, not particularly good for the environment. But Fiat, who don't make any stupid mistakes, have seen fit to come out with the 500 in North America. This is the first one we've driven. You know, it harkens back to a time when little cars were a part of life in Italy. La dolce vita. In the 60s, if you were bombing around Monaco in one of these, A, you usually found a place to park, B, there was room for 4 people in here, and what the heck, intimacy is fine if you're talking the language of romance, and it didn't burn much petrol, and lasted forever, and you could get parts for them at the local corner store, and the guy next door probably knew how to work on them. Well, you can tell that Fiat's trying to recapture that. The car makes 100 horsepower out of a 1.4 liter double overhead cam, fairly sophisticated little engine, and about 98 foot-pounds of torque. Doesn't really weigh that much. There's plenty of horsepower in here. It's got a 6-speed automatic transmission, which you can shift yourself, but when you shift an automatic transmission manually, for me, it gets old almost immediately. But it's there, fun to play around with if you want to. Bose sound system was unexpected. The interior is brilliant. The instrument layout is easy. It's all contained in kind of this speedometer, tachometer, information center on concentric circles, and that's the whole point of this car. It's all based on circles. It's almost like the designers were having a long night at work and we were in their 3rd bottle of Ruffino when they said, hey, you know what? The tires are round, let's make everything else in the car look round. So the rounded zeros and the logo carry that theme. Actually, the tires too. But you see these little circles all through the cockpit. Very cool. Does what it needs to do. Simple, plain. I like it. And I found a driving position that's just fine for me. I think my wife and I could probably go somewhere in this and not suffer for it. We will, probably later in the week, just to show it off a little bit. This car is a 2+2 coupe, but the first 2 have to be very small, and those people have to be even smaller back there. But I guess it's doable. When I picked it up at the factory and drove it over here at 120 kilometers an hour, about 70 miles an hour on a very smooth road, it's pretty chippy. But around town, it's zoomy like you wouldn't believe. On all-out performance, listen to what happens when you step on the gas. It makes more noise. But it also brings up the subject of safety. This car, we're told, meets all modern crash standards for a car its size, all the requisite crumple zones, all of the things like that you need in a car that you're going to drive in North America. But there is a feeling of integrity in this car that you certainly don't have in the smart car. And when you add its size to the equation, the fact that it truly is a little car, then you've got yourself something that's very, very safe feeling. So do you need a car like the Cinquecento? Well, no, of course you don't need it. But do you want it? You know something? You just might want it. It's a beautiful little car.